Hello, hello, Heal Squad. We are back with part two of our chat with performance coach and best-selling author David Nurse about flow state. If you missed part one, please go back and listen. He really helped us understand what flow is, down to the science of it, in fact, like how the brain gets there and how we can train it. But today, we get into the how. How do we use flow state to actually get the life that we want? And how do we remove distractions so that we can stay in flow? I know we have all had that feeling like we're always meant for more. Well, David is here to tell us how to start by sharing his key trifecta for a flow-driven life and the missing pieces that people often forget. So, enjoy. Let's talk about how much of getting the life you want is belief versus strategy and discipline.
Great question. So I think ultimately belief has to be the core competency of it. Without belief, you're not going to even create a strategy. So belief is number one. And, with a lot of these flow state people that I've been blessed to be around and different high performers of all types, there's a certain level of belief that at the start of it, it's almost like incompetent confidence, right? Like think about people.
Incompetent confidence?
Yes,
What's
yes.
that?
That means like you're basically so crazy that you would have the confidence to do something when everybody else thinks that that's the dumbest idea. You're never going to be able to do it. So, I mean, examples like that would be, Elon Musk creating Tesla or whoever created Airbnb, or just think about the crazy things that people have created.
Yeah, like who
And
would have ever thought we'd get into cars with strangers
yeah, there you go.
or rent someone's house and sleep in their bed? Yeah, 100%. And
Right.
PS, I love Airbnb because it's amazing.
There you go. Exactly. So basically, what I'm saying is that all great ideas start from a level of most people think it's a dumb idea, but then once it becomes something, it's, and it's just an assumed thing. Uber is now, just it's a term, it's a thing, or
Or
Airbnb.
even like a TV show. Like, I remember we've pitched so many shows over the years, but when
Yeah.
we saw Married at First Sight,
There you go.
we're
Yeah.
like, who the heck would have said
Yeah.
yes to this? And it works so great.
Yeah, I know. I've seen probably every season. My wife makes me watch it. So yeah, I totally agree. Exactly.
I love it.
Or Squid Game, stuff like that. So the belief has to come first, but then there absolutely has to be a strategy involved in it. I'm a big believer if you don't have a vision for where you're going, you're kind of just, like you talked about earlier, is letting life guide you and you're going down the river of life. So one of the hardest things for people to understand is that, life is like a long hallway. And you set out to have your vision, you have your goals. So look at that into the hallway of, hey, what do I want to accomplish in my life? How do I want my life to look? But understanding that as you go on this journey down this hallway, you're going to enter a door to the left and you're going to learn something from it. So it could be, for my example of, I was coaching in the NBA. I thought that's what I wanted to do. I was in it. I was, that was my life. And then I got fired. So, all right, now I go down this hallway and I use the important part here is the transferable skills that you develop in what you do transfers into the next thing. Most people think when something's gone, you have to start all over. You don't. You've developed a lot of skills that God has a path for you, something bigger and better to come. So you walk down this hallway, you enter the next door, you learn something there, and you keep going. But having the vision for where you want to go is extremely important, just like having a day plan of what you're going to do in the day. Like, do, efficient, high performing people wake up and like, see what we're going to do today? What's on the docket? Let's figure something out. No, they have a plan. They have a strategy for it. So yeah, and it can get very detailed in the micros of what that strategy might look like. And I am a very big believer in having your focused, intentional time that you're working. It's, just like an athlete, I think everybody is, you can't be on court performing the whole time or training the whole time. You have different rhythms and flows throughout the day where you maximize your time where you're able to be the most focused, the most locked in. The chronotype essentially is where you should put that type of focus.
What's that chronotype?
Yeah, chronotype is where you have the most energy throughout the day. So there's four chronotypes. I think it's the bear, the wolf, the dolphin. I'm forgetting one other one. But so like for example, I'm a bear. It's really interesting. You know when your sleep schedules are too. It helps you show when you should be going to sleep, when you should be waking up, when you're most productive. And my wife is uber productive at night from like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. I can't say a word that even makes sense after 9 p.m. I'm great
Hilarious.
in the morning. So understanding where your flow zones can be for work is very important. So that's a chronotype.
Interesting. So if you know that you are most productive first thing in the morning, that's when you stack your day and you hustle on the
Yeah.
things that are most important. But then if you're somebody who gets tired later in the day, that's when you maybe do something that's going to rejuvenate your soul, like play with your kid or like your dog or
Exactly.
whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So is it that people need to have discipline to be in flow?
To an extent, I think it is to be able to train, like we were talking for the deep practice, that type of discipline. And you want to be able to be disciplined so that you don't have to think when you're actually performing. So, for example, like giving keynote talks. Blessed to be able to give a lot of talks to companies, motivational talks. And the ones that I've found that I've done my best at is when I'm not searching or thinking of what's coming next. Like, hey, what's the next slide that I'm going to? Or where am I taking this next? So I've done the preparation, and that is a very disciplined thing to do to actually prepare. I don't necessarily like preparing for a talk because it's kind of monotonous and tedious, and I'm writing it all out and I'm going through it and I'm practicing it. But when I get on stage, then I don't have to search. I don't have to look for or think about what is coming next, and it's a flow. So yeah, the preparation is a very disciplined act, but when you're in it, you want to be free, you want to let go, and ultimately you want to have fun.
How does someone who's listening to this, sometimes I call it mojo, who's lost their mojo,
Mm.
who has or feels like they don't have flow, they may feel lazy, whether they are or not. They may not feel motivated. How does one start taking steps so that it's not overwhelming?
Yeah, great question. And I think the easy answer is just do one habit, and that's the whole atomic habit concept is. But I challenge you to go a step further is to actually create the vision for your life. I think the most important thing is create the vision for your life and it can be very high level of I want to have an amazing marriage, I want to enjoy travel, I want to spend time with family, and create that first and then continue to bucket it down. So what in this 1 month could you do that will pour into the bucket of travel, the bucket of family, the bucket of, and do not overwhelm it. I'm a big believer in the power of three. So pick three things, three buckets of your life that you want to pour into. So it's like a flower. Let's say we have three flowers. And then for that month, what are you doing on a daily basis to pour into that bucket? Can be very, very simple. Send a text message to someone, or you go on Chat GPT and find a great curated travel to go to somewhere that you've always wanted to go. So the first step in creating that life with the flow is the vision, but then also making sure that you actually put actions to that vision. It's kind of like, people who always talk about, oh, yes, the company has a great culture, or words they just throw around like that, which absolutely mean nothing until you put actions to those things. Vision means nothing until you put actions to those things and work in the power of three.
I also think like you have to go back to what we talked about earlier, where there are people who have come up with the most unachievable ideas, the craziest ideas, and they had nothing. Whether it's Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos, who started in his garage with Amazon, or, whenever I hear people put limitations on themselves, which I do in certain places too, I get frustrated with myself and with everyone else because there's so many stories of people who have done something with nothing.
Yeah.
Whether it's my parents who came to this country with nothing and built a life. Now, it was a modest life, but it was a great life. It wasn't anything insane like, Jeff Bezos. But I think you need those kind of role models to keep in the back of your head to remind you that anything is possible. And then it's setting yourself up for success, like I've been doing lately, that's getting me back in flow, is organizing, setting up my foundation so I can feel good. If I feel good, I will be in flow. If my foundation, my office feels good, I feel good. If my to-do lists are simplified and I've got a rhythm of where things go, everything has a place, I feel good. If I now have my vision on my wall of all the things I want to accomplish, once all of that is kind of happening, and then I really feel like movement is such a big part of this, only because I'm getting back into my flow too.
Totally.
It's like, David, I'm getting my steps in, I'm moving, I feel good, my body feels better. If my body feels better, I feel better, I can do more. Like,
Yeah.
what does that have to do with it? Have you guys done any research on that?
Absolutely. And the movement that you're talking about too is we have one step where you're upregulating called the cross crawl disorganization. So even when you're walking, right foot, left foot, it's activating the right and left hemispheres of the brain. So it really is actually triggering and kicking on your brain in all aspects. And that's, where the movement and the blood flow and everything is. But what you're doing too is so powerful that it's the small little wins set yourself up to be able to have bigger wins. So Michael Jordan used to always talk about this as the greatest basketball player ever. He'd try to get to the hoop early on in the game. And what that means is like he's just, trying to make the easiest basket so that he can get in the rhythm, or get to the foul line to make a free throw so he can get in the rhythm. Now he can do all his other stuff. You can't necessarily start doing all the other crazy stuff without setting yourself up for this. So what you're doing in these daily habits that you're talking about is you're putting yourself in the best position possible to have an amazing day, to probably be super creative. Your brain's, on fire. Because you've done the work first, right? Like it's very, very hard to be able to just go from one situation and jump into something else and be ultimately into flow. It's a ramp up. And I think one of the most important things too is, like you're talking about, the great things that you do is also the distractions that you put away. And in this day and age, even talking about like, hey, it's not Jeff Bezos, it's not like we have this, way that we compare ourselves to literally everybody, because we can be switched on to somebody who's over doing something in another country, unlike any time we've ever done it, because of the phone, because of social media. So, one, like anybody doing these great things, it takes forever. It takes a long time. Like even for example, me and my wife were watching this movie last night and we'd never seen this actor before. And I was like, what? She just came out of nowhere and she got this big role? And then Taylor was like, well, let me look her up. Let me look her up. She's been acting for like 15 years and had all these small roles. Like, oh, okay. Yep. That tracks, that lines. But also being able to, like, going back to the phone, is being able to use your phone like you would a computer. And I think, I'm a work in progress on this, but this one's revolutionary. Like, how many times you just pick up your phone and just look at it just because it's like habit that your brain has, like, oh, I have to check social media, I have to check my email. But why? Like, how many things are really that important that you have to get to? So being able to put the phone down as a distraction is one of the most important things. And I think bucketing it like you would your computer time, your work time. So from 8 to 9 a.m., let's say, for example, that's when you can be on your phone, you can have it activated, you can have messages. All right, then shut it off. Turn off notifications. You're not going on social media. Okay, now from 4 to 5 p.m. to wrap up the day, you can look at emails, you can look at your phone. And I would be willing to bet basically everything that you will find more flow, you'll find more creativity, you'll find more joy, and you won't just be so freaking worn out at the end of the day.
Friends, I'm going to pause right here for a second. I know this chat's been flowing, but I just want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Macy's who help us keep the lights on, and also remind everyone that they have great gifts for Valentine's Day. Now, I know this day is usually meant to be romantic, but I think this day is really morphed into a day of celebrating every meaningful relationship. But I get it too. This holiday can also bring an extra layer of added stress. And when it comes to finding a great gift that makes someone feel truly thought of, it's not always easy. Macy's does, though, make it easy. They have gifts that are big, small, shiny, even sweet to celebrate all of your relationships. I know I love surprising my girlfriends with little something like Godiva chocolates or makeup from Clinique for Galentine's. So if you need some gift inspo, I've added a few of my favorites to my wish list in the show notes below. And don't forget to check out Macy's Valentine's Day gift guide at Macy's.com. Happy shopping. Well, it's kind of living in purgatory every day because you're not focusing on anything that you want to do. You're just focusing on what's coming at you, and you do get exhausted. I watch people in my life that can't have a free moment. Oh. That's why I end the show with be nice people, make good choices, and be present, because the gift that all of the things that have occurred in my life gave me was I need to be more present. I can't be glued to this phone. I have to have empty moments for things to come in, like downloads and thoughts and creative moments. And you can't do that when you're just looking at everyone else's creativity on Instagram or everyone else's life or anything like that. So you really need to have some quiet moments. And I don't know why, but I woke up this morning, and because I've been getting in my flow and I feel so great, I'm like, gosh, people also need to know that you have to give yourself grace in those times of life when shit's just happening. And it might take you a long time. I've been talking about the fact that it's taken me like really a decade, I think, to feel this good. The last time I felt this good and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to go. I think I'm going to be great. Boom, pancreas cancer. Fuck. So, and then like this last year, I was like, okay, I'm going to really focus on healing in so many ways, but also just enjoying life with my daughter. And when I look back at 2025, it was truly that. And I think that set me up for this rather than rushing. You know, I feel like there were times where I was like a car and I would just bum $5 for gas all the time. That's my analogy for energy. And I'd be like, okay, I can go. And then boom, I would crash because it was only $5. You know, like you need to do some things consistently to get you to that place. But my husband always says, you keep tripping over the cord. There are things in life that you just keep tripping over. It's like that disorganization in your office, the lack of a system so that you can be organized in your day, the lack of the routine for your healthcare that you want to incorporate. You just need to spend a little bit of time and focus, and that might mean people don't get your attention. My daughter didn't get my attention for those days when I was really, there was a couple of days where I'm like, I am hell-bent on getting this freaking place organized, and she's going to get limited time with me, and she's going to be okay, and I'm going to be okay, and ultimately it's for the greater good. But you have to address the tripping over the cord. And the way I've always done it is I write a list of the things that are making me absolutely batshit crazy. And then I think of, how can I solve this? How can I solve this? And that, I think, is very helpful to start kind of climbing out of the wreckage and start building what you want. And then all of those things are possible once you start getting those little wins, like you said, and you start getting back into like a little bit of a flow. Ooh, life is happening. Okay, this is exciting. Oh, this dream is possible. I can do this. And all of that just starts to happen. But yeah, you have to do a lot of little things if you feel lazy, if you feel unmotivated, if you are down, to kind of get yourself back up. And all of those habits will accumulate to a place where I think you can get into flow state. And if you're still not in flow state officially, there are these incredible steps to get you there.
Yeah, I think that's super well said. It's just, understanding that it's going to take a long time, but the flow state of life doesn't necessarily mean you have to be performing at an elite level like an athlete. You can actually, it's accessible to everybody. And that's basically what you just said, spot on.
It's because I'm in flow.
But you can tell though, like, it's authentic, pure joy that you have. And you've said it many times of, spending time with your daughter. And
Hmm.
I think a lot of people put themselves in their own prison, their self-created prison. And the times you've been with somebody who's maybe popular on social media and they're like, hey, I got to post this. Let me post it. I'm like, we're not even living in the moment here. Like you're continually living in this other world. And it's such a dangerous thing. Like think about it when we were growing up, there was only one world to live in. That was
Hmm.
the real world. Now there's two worlds. People are thinking in this world what's going on in this world, and it's taking them away from the real world. It's yeah, it's a crazy mess.
Well, I am really, really excited because I hear you're potentially writing a book about this. So I think people will
Yeah.
really benefit from that. Um, is there anything that you do in your life? Because we're starting to ask people this question. Is there
Cool.
anything that you think you do in your life that helps you to be the CEO of your health?
Oh, that's a great question. And you know, one of the most important things for me that I found is and this probably sounds like a basic answer to people, but I think it's very important, is when I prioritize protein and I actually eat healthy throughout the day, my energy levels are better, my mind thinks better. Like I'm even better just having protein in the morning and keeping carbs for the evening. So everything that I do is, focused around how I can have the most focus, how I can have the most flow, how I can be as time efficient and create as much leverage in my life that I want. So, I was telling you off air about the protein gummies, but it was basically to fill a void that I didn't have a healthy snack on the go. I was at airports, I was in the car, and 80% of these, snacks are carb-based snacks, which aren't very good for you. And I had a tough time hitting my protein goals. My wife had a tough time hitting her protein goals. So we created this protein gummies that's all clean ingredient, no sugar, 2 grams of protein per gummy. And the times that it's saved me for an energy boost when I was hungry, or just to be able to stay locked in and having protein as opposed to processed carbs, has been a health game changer for me and has been a health game changer for a lot of people. So, yeah, it's, making sure I hit my protein, making sure I actually eat healthy, clean ingredients, because, what's getting us into flow and what's getting us into focus is how our brain is working and being activated.
I love it. David, thank you so much. This was such a great conversation.
Thank you, Maria. Appreciate it. Awesome questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. That was one of my favorite episodes. David Nurse is amazing. I think a few of the big key takeaways were definitely that flow can be trained. I had no idea it could be trained with intention, belief, and the right habits or small wins that build momentum toward the life that you want. And honestly, being more aware of our distractions and even environment matters that can kill flow fast. But let me know what you guys thought. I'm so curious. DM me or leave a comment and be sure to share it with someone who could use a little reset with their flow today. We've also got more info about David, like where to follow him, his podcasts, and where to pick up his books, of course, in the show notes below. In the meantime, be nice people, make good choices, and be present. Hey, Heal Squad. We have been on quite the journey together, and we're hearing from so many of you just how much this show is helping you heal and get better, and it makes us feel so good. We love, love, love it, and we just ask that you don't keep it to yourself. Spread the message and share the show or your favorite episode with your friends. And if you want to help us even more, you can leave us a 5-star rating and a comment on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and follow us on Instagram at Heal Squad. You can also DM us anytime because we love connecting with you. And finally, you can also join us on Patreon for our monthly live heal events with world-class healers and ad-free episodes exclusive only to Patreon and our Super Heal Squad for as little as $10 a month. So go to patreon.com/Heal Squad to join. Getting better isn't easy, friends, but as I say all the time, it's a whole lot easier if we can do it together. We love you all so much, and we love doing this thing called life with you.
This podcast and all related content published or distributed by or on behalf of Maria Menounos or MariaMenounos.com is for informational purposes only and may include information that is general in nature and that is not specific to you. Any information or opinions expressed or contained herein are not intended to serve as or replace medical advice, nor to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any disease, condition, illness, or injury, and you should consult the healthcare professional of your choice regarding all matters concerning your health, including before beginning any exercise, weight loss, or healthcare program. If you have or suspect you may have a healthcare emergency, please contact a qualified healthcare professional for treatment. Any information or opinions provided by a guest expert or host featured within website or on company's podcast are their own, not those of Maria Menounos or the company. Accordingly, Maria Menounos and the company cannot be responsible for any results or consequences or actions you may take based on information or opinions.